And I had asked people what they wanted me to teach about. I didn't get but one request. Does anyone have a request about something they'd like to know about? Elizabeth.
Well, working on shadow work, so that we can bring up further issues or from the subconscious to the conscious level to facilitate more and more clearings.
I'd like to hear more about like the ascended masters and what they're doing, and beyond just intention and prayer, how to connect with them.
Okay. Well, I have a whole class about that at the in March. It's going to Ascended Master schools and sitting and working with the Ascended Master. So, but I'll give you a little bit of it today.
Okay, thank you. When is the class?
I don't have my calendar in front of me, so does anybody have my date for my class? Elizabeth?
It's Saturday, March 16th from 12 to 5:30. Joining councils and Ascended Master schools.
Thank you. So the 16th, 12 to 5:30.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
Wanda, I would love to have you, if you would speak on whole body healing as opposed to just a location, like how to work on the whole body.
Who is this?
Julie.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
All right, that's a lot of territory to cover. So I may not get everything in great detail, but I'll get what I can. So what I was originally asked to do was to talk about the core energy, how it's formed, how it works, how it codes. So I'll start with that, and then I'll move on. You may have to remind me of what you ask about as we go along. So the core energy, does anybody know where it runs? Well, the core energy is more or less the beam of light that starts up above your head, runs all the way through in the center of you and runs all the way down toward the earth. The core energy inside of you tends to vary in size, depending on how much light you're bringing in, how much you're using it, and how much you're radiating it. The purpose of the core, it gathers information, it encodes information. Anything that ever happens to you gets encoded into your core, and what is encoded is your judgment of what happened to you. So your perception of what happened to you, what you decided about it, both the event and your decision about how you were going to react to that event. It also encodes in your subconscious mind, in your cells, in a number of other locations. When the core energy runs inside of you, that and the meridians more or less make up the aura of your nervous system. They surround and run parallel to much of the nervous system. And there is an exchange of information between the two. So your central nervous system sits in the middle of your core. The communication to them, between them, is very interactive, and it is a vast network. The coding in the core can change depending on how your decisions about what you felt about an event change. So if you reconcile your viewpoint with a broader viewpoint, seeing it in a new way, then your code in your core will change. Your code in your nervous system will also begin to change. It changes faster in your core, which is simply energy, than it does in your physical body, which is denser, takes a little longer. Okay, does everybody understand that? And when I say it's the aura of the nervous system, do you all understand that? Just like your whole body has an aura, your nervous system has an aura. Your bones have an aura. They have little energy channels around them. Your internal organs each have their own little aura around them. When you do etheric work, often you're working in those auras, which then translates into a body change, because all things happen first in the aura. For instance, if someone's going to be injured and you're doing healing on them, you might ask them about their knee that's hurting them before they hurt it, because it's already in their aura that that's going to happen.
Can you?
Would you
Oh, go ahead.
would you say that again about it's in your aura and it's predicted to happening, but you can stop that from happening? Is that accurate?
You may be able to, you may not. Depends on how badly the person wants to have that experience, or how much they need to have that experience. But you can let them know that if things don't change, this is going to be what happens.
Can you speak a little bit to reconciling life experiences with, I mean, I get the idea of it, but can you maybe give a couple of examples of the kind of shift that helps a person to come to peace with something and then change their energy for the better?
Yes, if you're constantly irritated by another person, that person makes you upset every time you get around them, then you're reacting to your judgments of that person. And each time you make the same judgment, you're reinforcing that coding inside of yourself. So you react more and more strongly to that person. And then those repetitive patterns get very deep, and they begin to cause a malfunction in the body. If you change your mind about that person, if you stand back and objectively look at your reaction, why are you reacting like that to that same person over and over and over again? Why do you do that to yourself? And you can begin to change your perspective, because everything another person does is about them, not about you. You're taking everything way too personally if you think what they're doing is about you. It's not about you. It's about their unhappiness, their projection of their worldview onto the people around them. And you don't have to accept that. You just say, well, that's just the way they are, and has nothing to do with me, and just let it roll off you, instead of getting overheated, having your nervous system fire up, having the anger run through you, and then the despair and the sorrow of it run through you and coil around you and yank your nervous system energy up in a ball around your spine so that you're not grounded anymore. Whereas you relax about it and say, well, it doesn't matter what they say. Take it with a grain of salt. And doesn't have anything to do with me. That's their opinion. It's not mine. I'm fine with me. And just let it roll off of you. Then your whole nervous system will relax. Your energy will uncoil from around your spine, release, your root will correct itself, and you'll feel more even. And you'll remain better balanced if you do that every time.
And is it primarily just working with your thoughts, or is there something else that helps people to get from point A to point B?
Making a decision not to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
That your feelings are not stronger than you.
Mm-hmm.
That you have self-determination and you can be whoever you want to be. Not who you were in the past, but who you're fully capable of being. We make those self-determinations all the time. And if we're not doing that, then we're not in control of our energy.
Mm-hmm.
Our energy is in control of us. You're taking a feeling and naming it and sticking it on your heart and letting that rule you, instead of having a feeling, letting it go, or having a feeling, looking at it and said, is that worthy of my time or not? And then letting it go and being done with it and standing there completely relaxed and, okay, all right, that happened, and let's go on.
Okay, thank you.
And Jane, you had a question?
I did, but you answered it in the meantime. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So the core would actually include the inner workings of the brain and nervous system because of the full interaction between the core energy, which is a channel of light around your nervous system, and the brain and nervous system itself. Once the core gets disturbed, it will disturb through the meridians one of the organs, or cause you to store energy in a certain way near an organ until you begin to have a problem with that. And if you can let that feeling go and be objective, it will begin to slow down the progress of whatever is going on with that organ, or reverse it. All right, what were some of the others people asked about? I didn't write them down, sorry. Elizabeth.
I was asking about shadow work.
Shadow work. Well, shadow work Shadow work is just your subconscious mind talking to you, where we've made judgments about life and decided that's the rule, that I have to react to this the same way. And you're like, we'll use the same thing, someone making you angry almost every time you talk to them. Or let's use another, being in control. Almost all of us want to be in control of what's going on around us, but we can't control everything. And yet we get upset when things change and we don't want them to. But change is the rule of life. If you live, you're going to have change. Stopping change means stopping the ability to live. You have to learn how to roll with whatever's going on and make the most of it. That's the secret to longevity, learning how to make the most of whatever happens to you. It is the old proverbial making lemonade. And how do you do that? You do that by all the things we just talked about. You make a decision that I don't have to react this way. I've been reacting to needing to control everything to feel safe. But if I am a whole person, I am safe. I am whole within myself, then I'm the master of my universe, not somebody else, and not my subconscious. I am. And I can look at what's in my subconscious, and pick it clean and say, yep, gonna keep that one. Nope, not gonna keep that one. Making decisions about it each time it comes to the surface. By being objective, by having clarity, so that you can see your patterns and say, energy, don't do that anymore. And then taking all your power and applying it to that area until you have changed the code. I thought I saw something from Douglas Macaulay. Did anybody else see it?
No, Wanda, he normally texts me. This is Donna. And I've been watching my phone. I'll text him now and see if he's trying to get in.
Are you talking about Douglas?
Yes.
Yeah, he just sent me a text. So he must think it starts at 1 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
He sent me a text about what he wanted me to teach about.
Oh, okay.
Wanda,
Yes.
hi, this is Dee.
Yeah.
Before we leave the topic of the subconscious and changing a pattern, right? If you're reacting to the situation, right, it's one thing to think I'm going to respond differently, but the body tends to respond in a similar pattern over and over again, right? The same response.
Well, yeah. That's when you go in and start making the changes.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at, is the subconscious operates off of those feelings, those emotions, that energy, versus the thinking thought of, I don't want to respond that way. Can you talk a bit more about actually changing those responses energetically so that the subconscious does respond?
Your energy is your thoughts.
Say that again.
Your energy is your thought. Energy is it carries information. So all you have is a stream of consciousness telling you to react a certain way. You then, when you identify that you act the same way every time, when you start feeling that feeling, you consciously think, I don't have to do this. And you impose on your energy a change. You tell it, we're not going to do this. We're not going to react this way. I'm not going to get mad at my mama. I'm not going to think my spouse is cheating on me because they looked at another woman or man or whatever. I'm not going to be jealous. Yes, Jane.
I have been seeing a acupuncturist. He's very spiritual and everything. And I had vertigo, and then because of that, had an accident, broke my big toe. And he said something along the line of, I won't have to do this to myself and he's got a strong Asian accent. And I'm trying to tie in this energy is thought, and our thought creates situations. And I'm thinking that's exactly what he was saying to me.
Absolutely. A thought is an output of energy. A feeling is an output of energy. You learn how to be in charge of your outputs. Instead of reacting, you ask to receive the answer. And your own self will give you that answer of how to make that change. If you but listen to it, instead of listening to the feeling or listening to the, I gotta react to this. You don't gotta react to anything. The only thing you have to do is decide whether you want to manage your energy or not.
And by controlling our thoughts, we control our energy.
Correct. I didn't say it didn't take work or a lot of enlightenment, but you keep pushing for enlightenment. And there are exercises you can do to do that. If you want to gain control of your core, you just keep bringing the light in until your whole body fills up with it. And then your core expands out into your aura and touches the edges of your aura, connects with outside of you, and brings energy back in, and you get a flow like this. It smooths and evens you out. It makes you balance. And from that balanced place, you will see things differently. When we go, I'm mad, then our energy is immediately imbalanced. And you really don't have to do that to yourself. You don't have to say, I'm sad every day. You don't have to beat yourself up and think of yourself as worthless. It does take work. It takes getting up and clearing and grounding and centering and balancing yourself every day, every hour, if you need to, until it becomes your habit to stay balanced. You change the habit of a lifetime. That means doing it every day, and every time you feel yourself coming out of balance and beginning to react, you go back to a balanced place, and you will see the answers. Not only that, you will hear the answers and feel the answers and taste the answers. Sometimes smell them. Because all your senses will become engaged. At some point, when we're reacting, we have decided that it feels good to react that way. It justifies our worldview. So we change our worldview, and we change our idea of who we are. You're not just the accumulation of things that are happened to you and your reaction to that. You're much more powerful than that. You are the creator of yourself. And you get to be who you want to be. And that's not to say that nothing bad's ever going to happen to you, but you have to judge it as bad. We have to judge things to be bad, because events aren't good or bad. They're an event. It's how we judge it and ascribe it to ourselves that matters. All right, anybody, what was one of the other questions that people had?
I was asking about the ascended masters and beyond just prayer and intention, connecting and working with them.
Becoming connected with the ascended masters is a matter of discipline. Just like what we were talking about just a minute ago, is a matter of discipline. You discipline your energy. You follow a discipline. And that discipline is clarity, expansion, going out and touching on higher levels of consciousness and bringing that information back in. until you master energy. And then the ascended masters will let you work with them. They won't just come and work on you. You will work with them. They will give you their energy to use, and it will become yours. Until you have acquired every different type of energy that you need in your toolbox to make manifest in this world. So that discipline is going beyond your ego-driven self. And when I say ego, there's nothing wrong with a healthy ego. What most of us have is a damaged ego. And we have to go beyond our damaged ego and heal our ego structure so that we feel like we have the capacity to do what any human being can do, which is become enlightened. If you think you're less than and that you need an intercessor between you and God, then you will always need that. If you begin to think, I can talk to God myself, I can get energy straight from God myself. I don't need it to come be channeled through anybody else. I'll channel it. Then you start to see things very differently. And you acquire wisdom. Your aura will turn gold. And beyond that, it changes even more. So this discipline is a practice that you do every time you get a chance. Oh, I want to talk to an ascended master. Okay, where are you? I'm going up, I'm going up, I'm going up, I'm going out there, I'm going to be on myself. There you are. I can feel you. I'm touching you and I'm getting energy from everybody. And here it comes. Here it comes. Ooh, that feels good. And the next time you do it, you go further. And the next time you do it, you go further until you get on Metatron's elevator. He's got you out in the middle of space. And you're receiving energy from the cosmos while being firmly grounded in the earth. And you understand it because you've developed the language of the universe, of all the universes, of the cosmos. Taken it in, and you can understand anything any being says to you, whether it's a planet or a star or a solar system or God. You hear, you feel, you understand, you get it because you're connected to it and you've made it your language. The same is true as with just being psychic. How do you hear the language of other people? You connect to it and you let yourself listen to it until you understand it. You let it trigger something inside of you because you were born with all of this knowledge in yourselves. You had to come through the ascended master angel, all of those realms in order to reach the earth in the first place. And at every level, you imprinted that dimension into your core. And in your brain and your nervous system, in your cells, and it's already there. And you then get deluded when you live on the earth and you decide you're little and you can't do this and you can't do that, and people run over you, and you're abused by everybody, and you make yourself about this big instead of the giant you that you are. And you have to go out there and reclaim your gigantic self. When you do, you will leave great big stomping footprints across the earth, not flattening things out, but able to accomplish. And where you walk, things will grow up. Because you walk in light and love. And you shed light and love with no anger, no need to judge anyone else. Judgment immediately cuts off the flow of energy. The other thing is always deciding that it's somebody else's fault that you feel the way you do. It isn't. You had to decide to feel that way. You had to make a judgment about what another person was doing and decide that's how you were going to feel. But you don't have to do that. And it's easier than you think it is. I know it's not as easy as getting up one morning and saying, I think I'll be blessed today. You have to practice being bliss, practice being peace, practice being joy, and practice being all loving. And when it comes to being all loving, if you really have unconditional love, there's nothing to forgive, ever. Because you never judged the person in the first place. You stood in your love, and your love sustains. Nothing can take it away from you. And you have it for yourself as well. Because all beings are included in that love. The dogs, the trees, the cats, the grass, the birds, the water, the ocean, the sunshine, your brother-in-law, politicians. fleas, ticks. You will hold them all in love. And you will feel at peace. The other thing that will happen is you won't need to rescue people because you won't really feel like you need to be rescued. You will have empathy. You will have sympathy. You will have the greatest love in your heart and radiate that out to everyone. And your very presence will be healing. So somebody asked me how to make it whole body instead of one thing at a time. That's just a matter of focus. Healing goes everywhere. When you start putting healing energy into everyone, you may focus on one thing, but the healing's going wherever it needs to go, including to what you're focusing on. And you may hit the highlights, but it's going into their cellular structure. It's going into their DNA. It's going into their past, present, and future, and healing everywhere it goes. If they stand in a timeline, then it's healing the timeline. If that timeline intersects with every other timeline and possible existence they could have, then every possible existence that they could have is receiving healing. Depends on their openness and how much they're ready to receive. You may shift your focus up and down their body, but you had to place them in a healing ray and the concept of healing and the space for healing before you even started. So their whole body is receiving healing. Their whole psyche is receiving healing. And spirit's not in the body. Body is in spirit. So the moment you have touched their spirit, you've touched everything in them with the concept of wholeness. It's more of a come to wholeness. Remember that you are whole. Here's your own template for living your best life. Come and get it. Did someone else have a question? All right, what were one of the other things people wanted to work on? What did you send to me? Okay, I read what Douglas sent me. Letting go of old patterns and making our soul in charge instead of old hurt and victimhood. Consciously changing these things through healing techniques. I think that's what we've been talking about the whole time. Do you agree, Douglas?
Yeah, I apologize. I for some reason thought it was starting at 12:30, so I missed that I thought that's what you guys were talking about, and I'll have to watch the recording to see it.
Yeah, I told them I thought you had that you must think it was at 1. I was off by 30 minutes. Okay. Yes, ma'am, James. Oh my gosh, I just got a glimpse of my teeth. I forgot to put my plate in. I'm so sorry. I was in a hurry this morning. So don't look too hard. I'll be snaggled too. Jane, you had a question?
Yes, I mean, I know vaguely about the rays of healing. And I was doing healing the other day, and I've seen other people call in different archangels and different rays, different colors. But as I was doing healing, it just depended on where I was in that person's energy fields, what colors came in. And there were probably 3 different colors during that period of time. And I mean, I'm equating it to sometimes when we're working on somebody and the etheric surgeons will come in. Is this essentially that type of thing where we have these, I'll say masters or entities or whatever, and they can jump in when they can be helpful, as opposed to us calling them in? Would that be an accurate statement?
The way that I began to work, and I can't speak to everyone's experience, but I can tell you the way it happened to me. When I first started working, I started getting these beings showing up that wanted to tell me something, and or to give me an energy. And I didn't realize I was getting initiations until one day somebody told me what I was getting. So I would be working and I'd have 3 beings come and they say, we have some energy for you. And they would dump it down into me and it would be really strong and powerful. And then my healing would change that I was doing for other people. And I found out later that's often how the ascended masters give initiations. And it's more or less in accordance with how much work you've put in toward your calling, towards your growth. It's like a recognition that, hey, you've come this far. Now we're going to let you go further. And so they give you another initiation. After a while, you stop getting initiations. I don't think I've had an initiation in a very long time. But part of that is because you start standing on top of the wheel of life, looking down, and you are in every type of energy there is. and can manage every type of energy there is. So you begin to give initiations to other people. But when you first start, or as you're going along, well, everybody likes big green man. How many of you have heard me talk about big green man? Yeah, most of you. When first time I ever saw big green man, he came into the room. He said, "Here's my energy," and left. And then he came again one more time and said, "I'm giving you my energy to use." And he gave it to me, and I've had it ever since. So I have big green man's energy. But big green man is a symbol of a type of energy. So are all beings a symbol of a type of energy that is most prominently apparent in their aura, like the one they use the most. So project something out of your aura. Give me energy. Show me energy. All of you are sending a different color. Slightly different. Some of them are similar, but there are slight differences in the colors. All right, now give me Michael's energy. Everybody send me Michael's energy. All of you narrowed the band of what you were going to give, and you chose that energy of Michael. We instinctively know that language of energy. And each of you has sent that, slight differences because it comes through you, but very Michael-y. I feel very Michaeled right now. All right, each of you, I want you to do Raphael, but don't do Raphael as the being, do Raphael's ray. Grab onto his healing ray. You've got it, now project it. Very warm, soft, soothing. Very different from Michael. Nice. How many people could feel the difference? What you were doing in the beginning, you went broadband, you went through, you covered a lot of territory with the energy you sent. It had a mixture of different energies in it. And then when you focused on Michael, you went straight to the one people think of as Michael, because it's one that he uses the most and is a master of. And then you went to Raphael and you shifted over and found that vibration and sent that. How many of you could feel yourself shift gears? Yeah, because it feels different. The energy feels different. And shifting from one to the other is a matter of focus. Here's the whole spectrum. There's the one people identify with Michael. There's the one people identify with Raphael. All right, I'm gonna do Michael. I'm gonna focus on this particular vibration. I'm gonna send it. And I just sent it to you. How many got it? I'm gonna shift focus. I'm gonna look at Raphael, but I'm gonna look at the whole of Raphael, not the one people most strongly identify with Raphael. And I'm gonna send the whole of Raphael's energy to you. It's gonna feel different. Let me know when you receive that. Did that feel different? Yep. Bigger. And more powerful. Because Raphael's a very complex being. And he has more than one gift. All right, I want you to go inside of yourself. How many of you feel like you've been initiated into Michael's energy before? All right, go to your initiation and what you think of as Michael's energy, and then find it and tell me what you did to do that. Okay, who wants to volunteer what they did? D?
For me, it was instantaneous with the intent. And it's kind of weird being on camera because when it encompasses, like when I'm in it, it's very overwhelming initially, right? If I haven't been in it in a while, but it was instantaneous with the intent.
Good. Could any of you go back to the point where you received the initiation? Who was there?
Wanda, it felt like for me, if it's okay if I speak, that there's been different initiations along the way. You know, if I remember one where I was at a church and I always prayed to Archangel Michael, and it's actually I think it's one of his churches, and there's a huge statue of him, and I remember the strong connection that I felt while I was praying. I think that was one. And also with a certain crystal, my first crystal I ever bought, I was like, I don't know why I have to have it. And when I got it, I was like, oh my gosh, it was my first crystal. It was expensive. I was like, this is Archangel Michael. And it just hit me. And when I hold that crystal, I always connect very deeply. But it happened before, but those are the ones I remember most recently.
When you, yes,
I'm sorry. You can hear me? If you can,
yes.
my speaker's working again. In my case, I was 9 years old. It was a post-traumatic stress event, and Jesus came and Michael held the space. He also held the space when I was in my car accident and almost died 2 years ago. He held the space for Jesus to speak with me. I know it was Michael.
Yeah, Michael's was protecting you so that you could feel safe enough to hear
Mhm.
the message. It's the way it feels to me.
Yep.
Barbara,
I think
I've heard
Michael also protected me in the accident because the fluids were leaking out of the car. It should have exploded. And Michael was there.
Yeah, I believe that, yes.
Barbara, I actually had that same thing happen, I think in a meditation with Raise for Healing. I felt like Archangel Michael was there to bring Jesus in. I felt the same exact thing. So it's interesting that you said that. Resonated.
Remember what I said about not needing an intercessor? You won't ever need Michael to bring Jesus again.
Actually, I noticed Jesus and Michael. I noticed Michael later.
Yeah, you won't need that because your trust levels are going to go higher. And we're going to get an initiation into the level of trust that allows you to communicate with other Christ or directly with God. And that's going to come in now. Let me know when you feel it. It's the triumvirate. There's also Holy Spirit. So you will know God as Jesus, God as God, and God as Holy Spirit. Blow out.
Wanda, would you repeat what the initiation is? I definitely could feel it. It was very warm and came in around my third eye.
It was an initiation into being able to speak directly with Christ or God or Holy Spirit without anyone needing to bring them into your presence, or just trusting that you are as connected with the divine as you are with the archangels. And still making changes. Blow out. And blow. And the pyramid inside of your brow chakra that your third eye sits in is spinning and rotating. Another alteration of perception, able to see in the distance. Blow out. And then there is in this shift in perspective, it is sending a signal through your body to follow your best physical template, holding out a template of health, and holding out also a template of mental and emotional health. Because really, that's what emotional healing is. It's returning to a template that is optimally your mental health. You can say goodbye to some anxiety, some depression, and it's going to free you of psychic pain. As each of you clear, your core is going to begin to widen. Let me know when you feel it moving outward, moving toward the edges of your body. We're going to take it to the point of radiance. Where you radiate light. And it looks like every cell in your body has a little fire in it. And they all sit up, pay attention, and radiate for you. Their consciousness came online with yours, with what you think of as yourself, because you don't often think of yourselves as yourself. Feel them connect together and glow. And there is a huge I love you coming through. The vibration of it will go into everyone's body. It is from God. And it is the nurturance of God, in whose hands we have always been and always will be. And our hands join God's hands. All of our auras expand outward until they're touch and we're in communion with each other. And we're all glowing together. And that light rushes out around us, out into communities, relationships. To drag your feet is to ignore the call of God. So get your feet in gear and go do what you've been told to do. What you know in your own spirit is right. Good. All right. I think our time is almost up, so I'm going to say a prayer. Divine Infinite Spirit, thank you for being with us, for being one with us, for flowing through us, all around us, and dwelling within. We ask that we are clear, centered, grounded, balanced, aligned, and filled with light, love, peace, and joy. We ask for the help of the ascended beings, the masters, the guides, the angels. We ask for communion with the divine. oneness. And we ask that everyone in attendance receive whatever they need to feel their best, to be their best, to bring their bodies together in a way where their bodies support them and they support their bodies. And to realize it's all one thing. As goes your spirit, so goes your body. We all center, ground, balance, and on. And so it is. It was a great pleasure to have you all here. Anybody have anything they want to say?
Thank you, Wanda.
Did I miss any of your requests? Do you all feel like you learned a little bit? Mission accomplished. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much, Wanda. Much love to you.
Thank you. I love you all so dearly. You just can't imagine.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Wanda. Love you.
Love you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wanda. Thanks, everyone.
Love everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.